What's up, nerds? Knights of the Old Republic, or KOTOR for short, is one of my favorite childhood games. Its unique yet familiar Star Wars story is compelling, I enjoyed the power fantasy of being a Jedi Knight, and I was able to beat the game without doing too much reading. Pretty much the perfect experience for any young Star Wars fan. Well, now I'm a grown-up Star Wars fan, and all I know is pain. I no longer admire KOTOR for the nostalgic masterpiece that it is. I would prefer to subject myself to endless challenge runs, beating the game with progressively more difficult rule sets until I go insane or get famous. They're not mutually exclusive. And today I have concocted the most difficult KOTOR challenge run of them all. Inspired by the highest difficulty of Baldur's Gate 3, this run will include the following: 1 save permadeath, companion permadeath, riskier combat, slower healing, a weaker economy, less story mobility, and no access to cheese strategies of any kind. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Knights of the Old Republic Honor Mode Challenge. Like any good run of KOTOR, we must start with character creation. The most important rule of Honor Mode, as mentioned before, is that the game becomes a 1 save permadeath. If my main character dies and is set back to the main menu, I have to delete my save and start over. This means I have to create the most meta character build possible to reduce my chances of dying. My original idea for the run was starting as the soldier class, seeing as, they're a soldier, they're trained for combat, but unfortunately I was streaming my Honor Mode attempt live on YouTube, and my chat had different ideas for me.
Rules accompanying this challenge, so if I die, it's permadeath, and I have to delete that save, restart. $2 to play Scout? I guess I'm playing Scout.
So, the Scout class. Why is it bad in comparison to the Soldier class? Well, it has worse HP and attack bonuses, and far fewer feat choices over the course of the game. In exchange, Scouts get more skills, which don't matter if you have companions, better saving throws, which don't matter once you become a Jedi, and a bugged passive which acts as a constant debuff against grenades. Playing this class will certainly make dying easier for no good reason, but $2 was $2, so we play ball. Moving on to my main character stats, they look a little something like this. High strength for melee weapons, which are the strongest type of weapon in this game. Base dexterity, because I'll be getting all of my armor class from force powers later on. High constitution, so I don't get one shot. Base intelligence, since I don't need most skills. And decently high wisdom/charisma, so I can use force powers more frequently and effectively. When it comes to my character's skills, the only two I care about are treat injury for better healing and awareness to detect harmful traps. For my starting feat, I take toughness for even more HP throughout the game, and wrap up character creation by naming my character Honor Mode. With that, I can enter the tutorial level and get to progressing through the game. The beginning of the tutorial holds no stakes, as it makes you invulnerable while you learn KOTOR systems. So while Honor Mode rips through this part, let me go into more detail about the rest of Honor Mode's rules. KOTOR's highest available difficulty option is Difficult, aptly named as it makes enemies deal 50% more damage, attack more often, and have a chance to hit you for critical damage. This overall increase in incoming damage is easy to mitigate due to a little trick in KOTOR where using healing items in your inventory allows you to heal with higher safety and speed. Naturally, I am banned from using this advantage. I can only use healing items outside of my inventory, which will take up a turn in combat and leave me vulnerable to being hit. I am also banned from using cheese strategies to beat enemies, such as, stacking 15 landmines in one spot to instantly evaporate a boss. It's really funny, but not that honorable. And the final relevant rule for now is companion permadeath. Though I will not restart the run when a companion dies, upon their death I have to strip said companion of all their gear and remove them from my party, no longer being able to use them for the rest of the game. This rule is demonstrated by the tutorial companion Trask Ulgo, as he throws himself into combat with a Sith Lord and dies instantly. What a foolish thing to do, Johnner thinks, who is only level 3. The sin of failing to mourn Trask Ulgo's passing causes Johnner's immortality to be revoked, meaning every fight from now on is for real. In response to this divine punishment, our hero slays 3 Sith guards, makes a droid smite 5 more, and recruits Trask Ulgo's replacement, Carth Onasi. Together, Johnny Boy and Carth take an escape pod out of the tutorial and onto the starting planet of Terrace. Jonathan takes a little nap during the trip and wakes up to find Carth spouting exposition about his next plot objective. Our hero already knows that he has to save the Jedi Knight formerly known as Bastila Shan in the lower city of Terrace. However, build crafting is far more important than that. Juan's biggest enemy this run is bad luck in the form of critical hits. Though they are a rare occurrence, when enemies do hit them, our hero is liable to be one-shot.
I don't want to waste a turn, though. 27?
Removing this risk as soon as possible is priority number 1, and thankfully it won't take long to do. All Jean needs is money, which can be easily acquired from low-risk side quests in the early game. I say low risk, but our hero does participate in a few cage matches, a couple muggings, a mugging.
Hey, it would appear that I'm frozen in time right now, just giving the light skin stare, the blue steel from Zoolander to the camera,
and some amateur bounty hunting. The risks were well worth it though, as Hans is able to make it to the lower city and then the undercity to purchase the crit immunity he needs. It comes in the form of the retinal combat implant, sold by the merchant Igir. With this necessary upgrade checked off the list, our hero moves on to the next thing he needs to beat the game. Surprisingly, the plot isn't just a mechanism for progressing the story, it will provide one of the game's strongest companions in Bastila Shan. Don't get me wrong, Karth is a great companion for the early game, but he's just a block of meat compared to Bastila's Jedi utility. I'll show you what I mean later, but for now it's time to work our way towards saving the British lady. A necessary step for this mission is becoming stronger, so Giovanni grabs his bestest buddy Karth and gets to clearing out random gangsters for XP. It's during these fights that I learned something important. KOTOR's companion AI is extremely unreliable. Unless directly micromanaged, companion AI will default to hyper-aggressive pushes against multiple enemies. This tactically dim-witted behavior is not preferable in a challenge where companions are gone forever when they die. I did try using companion scripts to change their behavior, but I found these settings to be unhelpful. So there'll be a lot of close calls, I'm sure, but I think I can micromanage 2 people at once. This shouldn't be too hard at all.
Oh, hey, mission.
Nobody else is gonna help me. Even the Becks won't help me.
Well, now I have my hands full. Mission Veo, KOTOR's second companion, is actually pretty damn good. She can pick locks, disable mines, sneak, and crank out some crazy damage at higher levels, but for now she's a squishy liability with a death wish. I was getting a little miffed at my companion's silliness at this point, so I developed a brand new, never before seen infallible strategy: becoming a master at baiting. Wait. It's pretty simple. Turn the game into solo mode, run into a group of enemies, have them chase you into your waiting allies, and then micro everyone at once to jump the poor victim. Rinse and repeat en masse until you reach your next objective, and bada bing bada boom, I have a Wookiee now. This Wookiee is named Zalbar, and he's Mission's friendo. With their powers combined, they open a secret entrance to the place where Bastila is being held hostage. Walking Mission and Karth through this maze of death unscathed is equivalent to chaperoning a class of kindergartners through Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Despite the grisly metaphor, our hero is able to lock in and find the final boss of the area. He says Princess Peach is in a different castle, and in retaliation, Karth blows his head smooth off. Not all is lost though, as Yonko is able to acquire the plot device, TM. It makes our hero a professional racist, so professional in fact that Bastila decides to rescue herself just to tell Johnner what a terrible person he is. Though his feelings are hurt, our hero now has everything he needs to get off Terrace. All that's left to do is progress the plot a little bit. So where were we? Oh, right, Canderous Ordo, a local hitman, liked how racist our hero was on TV. He has decided that Johnny should be the one to assassinate the Sith Lord Governor of the entire planet for funsies. In order to accomplish this, Jack is given a new companion droid named T3M4. To those of you who Nuzlocke Gen 1 Pokemon, T3M4 is my slow bro. He can use almost every skill in the game, do consistent unblockable damage, and ignore the effects of dangerous force powers. Do you know who isn't immune to force powers? Johnner. Why is this a problem? The Sith Governor can infinitely stunlock you with the Force and then kill you. This is where Bastila comes in. Being the Force user she is, she can cast protective powers such as Force Valor, which greatly decreases our chance of getting stunned, and Force Heal, which lets Johnner focus on dealing damage without risking healing himself. This party composition wreaks havoc on the Sith Governor's base and the man himself. I mean, sure, Bastila almost got one shot from full health despite all that preparation, but hey, a dub is a dub. With the Sith Governor dead, the last story mission on Terrace is a total breeze. We meet back up with Canderous, he hooks us up with a job to steal some old guy's ship, we break into the old guy's compound, wipe out all his goons, and prepare to steal the ship's launch codes. Everything was looking perfect and peachy, until this happened.
He just doesn't have the Canderous look to him. The aesthetic, if you will. Canderous is dead? What? That happened in the blink of an eye! Wow! Wow! Wow!
The companion we had just added to our team, Canderous Ordo, had been one-shot out of nowhere by a droid's flamethrower. I genuinely didn't know this enemy was that strong, so I was caught completely off guard. As is the rules, Canderous was stripped completely bare and sidelined for the rest of the mission until I could remove him from the party. This didn't take long, as the final boss battle on Terrace is defeated easily by throwing grenades. Genre mode had officially conquered Terrace, but at the cost of a new friend. Rest in pepperonis, Kando the Mando. Anyway, onward with the rest of the game. KOTOR will be getting harder from here on out as more force-sensitive enemies appear. Naturally, the best way to fight fire is with more fire, so Bastila hooks us up with some sweet Jedi training on Dantooine. Jonas chooses the path of the Jedi Consular, as it's the Jedi subclass that uses force powers most effectively. And his lightsaber color is green. The color doesn't matter that much, but it looks nice. Before our hero can use his powers for good and or evil, the tuition bill comes in and payment is expected in the form of manual labor. Jonathan doesn't mind since he knows he's not allowed to leave this planet anyway. This is because of a now relevant rule that states I can only travel to planets in a straight line. No returning and no skipping. So if I want to make the most out of Dantooine, I have to do everything I can right now. And of course, priority number 1 is build crafting. So let's get to it. Our hero takes Zalbar on mission to test out his new powers, and by powers, I mean power, and that power is inflicting thoughts of horror on large groups of people. While the victims convulse and contort, our hero and his team kill them where they stand. Not only is this power completely ethical, it's tactically sound, as it allows Johnner to clear out a cave of spooky bugs. The reward for his efforts are a slew of crystals which improve his lightsaber stats. That's one required activity complete. The second activity is earning our tuition by either saving or killing the Padawan Juhani. She's not that hard of a boss fight, nor is she difficult to talk down afterward. In doing so, we gain her as a companion. Juhani's pretty okay, but I won't be using her unless Bastila dies on accident. And the final big upgrade for Jonold's build is the purchase of the CNS Strength Enhancer. As the name implies, it gives our hero more strength, but also provides extra bonuses against being stunned by the Force. Pretty freaking awesome. With all of Dantooine's upgrades acquired, I can continue with the plot. By doing some amateur archaeology, Johnner discovers one of 5 space MacGuffins that lead to the Not Death Star. In order to beat the game, we must destroy the Not Death Star, so it's time to go on a wacky MacGuffin hunting adventure. Seeing as our hero's already found one MacGuffin, Johnny decides he's earned a short vacation to a space station over Yavin 4. In said space station, there is a special merchant named Suvam Tam. Not only does he sell some of the best endgame gear, he's the most profitable merchant in the game due to his uniquely high sell rate. Since this guy is basically free money, my final honor mode rule involves him. I can only visit Suvam Tam 3 times during this entire playthrough, so that means I'll have 2 visits left after this one. This visit, I'm able to generate 9,000 credits or so from selling random junk. This recoups the loss we took purchasing the CNS Strength Enhancer, and sets us up nicely for the first planet we need to visit, Tatooine. We've got enough money for some odds and ends, but if we want to make some serious purchases later on in the run, Johnner's gonna need more capital. Awfully convenient then that the most profitable venture in the galaxy just so happens to be racing on Tatooine. This guy Mata the Hutt gives out vouchers for winning races on his track, 120 of them with up to 30 more awarded from side quests, and they're each worth 156 credits. Do the math and that's easily over 20k credits worth, more than enough to keep us at a surplus. The races to get these vouchers are super easy too, so this little detour is a must do. Another must for our hero is purchasing a new companion in the form of HK-47. He's important for Tatooine's main plot, but he's also a competent meat shield should we need yet another backup companion. The rest of Tatooine is mostly about one thing: getting jumped. Just arrived on the planet, jumped by a group of Sith. They're easy to stun, so they're not a problem. Wandering around aimlessly in the desert, jumped by sand people. There's a lot of them, and they do cause more than a few close calls. But ultimately, I'm too good at this game to get diffed. In an attempt to reduce the volume of jumpings in the area, Johnny Boy tries to make peace with the Sand People by using HK-47 as a diplomat, and things work out pretty favorably. Our hero goes to buy a thing the Sand People want, he goes through the desert to talk to them again, and just kidding, they jumped him. A nearby game hunter can't help but notice how down Johnner is and asks him what's wrong. Well, our hero says, "I've run out of variations for the name John to write in this script of the video. And I also keep getting jumped." To make him feel better, the hunter helps Johnner jump somebody else. And by somebody, I mean a giant Komodo dragon. Ah, the joy of being the jumper and not the jumpy. With the big lizard dead, the next natural course of action would be invading its former domicile to loot its possessions. Within, our hero finds one of the MacGuffins he needs, and a swaggy set of robes. Unfortunately, looting the deceased dragon's den was not an original idea, and another pack of looters ends up jumping Johnny's team. Due to some hilarious bad AI shenanigans, the fight goes from a 3v5 to a 2v5, because Mission decided to examine a reptile corpse rather than protecting her friends. Thankfully, Bastila absolutely carries this encounter using Force Healing, Valor, and a new power I had never used before called Energy Resistance. It basically acts as temporary HP against energy damage, which was the preferred damage type of all the looters. By spamming this power over and over, you can have infinite HP against energy damage, so long as you have the force points. Bastila was able to spam these buffs the entire fight and have extra force points to spare afterward. I will be using this power a lot from now on. With the grave robbers defeated, Johnner Mode returns to his ship and gets moving to the second planet on his list, Manan. It's an unassuming planet, civilized, with beautiful scenery and mild political intrigue, but little does the casual KOTOR player know that Manan is the most dangerous planet to visit in the early game. Most planets in KOTOR scale enemy strength to your level. Even on a planet like Korriban, where 80% of the enemies are Force-using Sith Lords, going there at level 10 will scale them down, making it a rather easy planet to do. However, on Manan there is one fatal exception to this general rule: the Dark Jedi Master. Not only is he a stat monster with deadly Force powers, he's always level 18. The max level in this game is 20, and I am level 13, so I am straight up boned if I don't prepare. Thankfully, I'm able to make a little more money from Manan's racing circuit, which I use to buy supplies for me and my companions. These supplies include performance-enhancing drugs, save-boosting gear, and many medpacks. To actually meet the Dark Jedi Master, we have to break into his base, which is really easy. It's staying alive in his base that proves to be more tricky. There's dense enemy counts, dangerous Force users, and tanky droids with the same flamethrowers that one-shot Canderous crawling all over the place. Bastila absolutely carries me through these encounters with her Jedi support, easily solidifying herself as the run MVP thus far. Clearing all the enemies in the Sith base earns Johnner a clutch level up, which he can use during the Dark Jedi Master boss fight to get a top up of HP for free. With that, I'm as prepared for this boss fight as I'm gonna get, so here goes nothing. Before battle, Johnner turns on an energy shield to protect against lightsaber damage. On his first turn, he casts Force Resistance as a precaution against the Master's Force powers, and Bastila adds onto it with Force Valor. T3's job is to deal consistent guaranteed damage from the backline, so I set him to do that. As an even further precaution, I have Johnner take some super drugs, which will make the Master's chance to stun him basically zero. While our hero soaks damage, I keep Bastila out of combat, constantly refreshing buffs. This is where I start to blunder. I cast too many powers at once and drain Bastila's force point reserves too quickly, leaving everyone vulnerable. To make matters worse, T3 runs out of free damage abilities due to an inventory oversight on my part. This is what the rest of the fight looked like.
Why are we missing? Why are we missing? No, wait, we're leveling up. We're leveling up. We're not letting Bastila fight him on his own. Back all the way up, Bastila. And wipe this guy right now. Why am I missing? Defense is 34? Huh? I don't know. T3's down. Bastila, I'm gonna be so dead ass with you. It's been real. If you don't heal, I don't even care. In the frenzy to
prepare for the survival of my main character, I had neglected T3M4. I'm confident that if I had gotten him properly geared, he could have killed the Dark Jedi Master much earlier with his guaranteed damage and saved me a lot of stress. But this was how the cookie crumbled. One dead companion, and a moment where I was prepared to sacrifice Bastila, my MVP, just to keep the run alive. Certainly not optimal, but Johnner mode lives to fight another day. As was the rules, T3 was stripped bare, and after a brief court case involving the mistreatment of a droid, he was sent back to the Ebon Hawk for the rest of the game. Rip in peace, Clanker Dog. Now, I'm not gonna lie, with the Dark Jedi Master dead, the rest of Manon is a joke. The only enemies left to fight are a bunch of fish and weak robots, which my team have no trouble dealing with. There are a couple underwater sections where one mistimed input could mean a run wipe, but thankfully I've done this a million times before, so it wasn't all that bad. Our hero does a quick puzzle, says hi to a big shark thing, and collects his third MacGuffin. 3 down, 2 more to go. Being honorable is really taking a lot out of Jonathan, so he decides to use the second of his Suvam Tam visits to unwind. On the space station, our hero is able to make nearly 40,000 credits from Tatooine's race bonds and miscellaneous junk selling. We don't buy anything from Suvam just yet, but the next time we visit him, we'll certainly be making purchases. For now, Jonathan returns to his ship and makes a heading for Kashyyyk. Right away, Kashyyyk differentiates itself from Manon by showing how wild it is. There are critters all over the place looking to make a meal out of our hero. Unfortunately for them, John's hit level 15, and that means he wins the game now. At level 15, all the best force powers become unlocked, one of which being Force Wave, an AoE attack that deals okay damage, but more importantly knocks enemies back and stuns them. With the proper buffs from Bastila, Force Wave becomes a ridiculously easy move to spam against trash enemies for free wins. Our hero carves a path to a nearby Wookiee village and finds out that its residents have taken Zalbar hostage. Oh no, one of my backup companions is temporarily unavailable. Johnny will be back to free him later, but as always, build crafting is the priority. The first order of business is upping our companion game. To do this, our hero's team has to get past a mini-boss ambush. Darth Bandon, the mini-boss in question, is at his strongest on Kashyyyk, however, even then he's nowhere near as dangerous as the Dark Jedi Master. As a reward for slaying him, Johnner lays claim to the best companion in the game, Jolee Bindo. So you know how Bastila has been the run MVP because of her support buffs? Well, Jolee can do everything she does, but better. He has more force points, higher force power success rates, more force powers in general. He's just so good. His strength is proven against some sneaky Mandalorians as well as hostile wildlife, none of whom stand a chance. Even the king of the jungle, a giant man-made horror beyond comprehension, is slimed out in no time. From its vaporized corpse, our hero discovers one of the most useful items in the game, the Circlet of Suresh. It's a helmet item that provides a whopping +5 to Johnner's wisdom, which drastically increases his force using capabilities. Guardian droids protecting the 4th MacGuffin? Absolutely toasted. Some random Wookiees out in the woods? Not a problem. An entire room of enemies surrounding the party? Believe it or not, total pushovers. Yeah, we're riding pretty high right now, but we can get even stronger. The final MacGuffin planet, Korriban, has some of the best items in the game. Johnner would love to go there, but he gets caught by the Sith fleet's flagship, the Leviathan. This counts as a pseudo-planet where our hero is tasked with surviving and escaping above everything else. By asking one of his companions to break him out of jail, Johnner is able to gear up and move about the ship, looking for a way out. During these adventures, we are limited to using Bastila, which is fine because she's good, and Karth, which is less fine. He's sort of a spectator at this point compared to his Jedi compatriots, but as long as he doesn't randomly die, things should be okay. There aren't any specific loot drops or upgrades I'm looking for on the Leviathan, but there is a rather difficult fight that I was stressing about. The Admiral of the Sith fleet will confront your party, leading to a 3v7 combat situation. You're surrounded, there's a lot of grenades, and the boss is pretty tough, so I expected to at least lose Karth to this. But then I remembered this fight takes place in a close-quartered room, so yeah, this was no sweat. The rest of the level is like this up until the very end, where we gotta fight KOTOR's big bad, Darth Malak. He forces Johnner into a 1v1 situation by stunning Bastila and Karth, but he didn't need their help anyway. This version of Malak is really weak for some reason. This won't stop him from winning in a cutscene though, and exacting a plot tax on Bastila. For the rest of the game, Bastila will be unavailable for me to use, effectively meaning she is dead. It does suck to lose the companion who'd been carrying my butt up until this point, but as I've said, Jolee is just better, so we'll be fine. Finally arriving on Korriban, my favorite planet in the game, I've got one main objective, finalizing Johnner Mode's build. I'm able to buy some top-of-the-line energy shields and a pair of absolutely jacked strength gloves right out of the gate, but the best item for my build can't be bought. To find it, we gotta enter the Sith Academy. On account of our hero's negative riz, we gotta do this the old-fashioned way. Murder! Once inside, we can ignore all attempts at education and make a beeline for the evil-ass spooky cave. We have to kill a man-made horror which will award us with our prize, the Keldroma robes. This robe set gives John the best protection possible without compromising his force abilities, and they actually make him stronger with a +2 to wisdom. Another super powerful upgrade for our hero will be the Solari lightsaber crystal, which is obtainable after doing all side quests on Korriban. These include telling a ghost to die so I can steal his stuff, turning a noise complaint into destruction of property, telling some kids that school is for nerds, and most eventfully, almost getting slimed out by the former principal. He uses Force Lightning on you during conversation as a way to test if you're good or evil, and since I was playing light side, I got shocked a lot. Usually the damage here isn't enough to be dangerous, but that's when you're playing a soldier. I forgot to take into account that I was a fragile scout, leading to me nearly dying outright. Luckily, another student was there to die in my place, so that was convenient. All of these very educational activities give us a shot at the Sith final exam, which takes place in the tomb where the Solari crystal is located. Jonathan has to go at it alone here, but with how strong he's become, our hero is capable of handling not one, but 2 man-made horrors alone. That being said, I was so focused on these enemies that I actually ran past the skeleton that had the Solari crystal. Oops. Well, at least I didn't forget that final MacGuffin. Johnner's Sith teachers show up to give our hero the results of his final exam. He would have gotten an A, but seeing as he forgot the Solari crystal, that's an automatic F, and he is now sentenced to death. It's not even required to beat the game, our hero says with a pout, casually wiping the floor with both of his enemies. To further prove his point, Jonathan takes out everybody at the Sith Academy. The Force doesn't penalty our hero with any dark side points for doing this, so clearly it was the right thing to do. Johnner Mode's build is nearly complete now, with the final pieces waiting to be bought on Suvam Tam's space station. There's a little fight to access his inventory, which goes fine, because it takes place in yet another close-quartered room. The Heart of the Guardian and Mantle of the Force are 2 unique lightsaber crystals, which strengthen the effects of other crystals put in the saber. And since I wield 2 lightsabers, I can strengthen both of them to push my damage over the top. Johnner's build is complete, so all that's left to do now is beat the game. There are 2 planets left, the first of the pair being the Unknown World. The life forms that live there were responsible for building the not Death Star 1 more billion years ago. They've been divided into 2 tribes, one warlike and the other nerdy. We have to destroy one or the other for the sake of the plot, so Jonathan chooses to destroy the warlike ones. The only dangerous enemies they have are tamed baby Rancors, who can easily 2 or 3 shot you if you're not careful. This is what they did to Jolee, almost killing him. Beyond that one hiccup, the rest of the camp is a breeze. Mission begins to shine in the endgame because her sneak attack damage has been maxed out, meaning she can crank huge numbers against stun enemies. With John and Jolee crowd controlling everyone in a 30-meter radius, she's free to go to town, hitting nasty one-shots. It's a glorious thing to witness. With the warlike tribe dead, the nerds led us into the Sith's secret base. We do need to swap mission out for Juhani here, whom I have not built up at all, but her help isn't really that needed, seeing as Johnner's Force Wave has the magical ability to hit people through walls. God, we're so broken right now. At the top of the Sith base, the party meets with the now evil Bastila Shan. She expresses her discontent with being replaced by stunning Juhani and Johnner, setting them up to be killed. However, Jolee proves why he's the better companion by stalling Bastila long enough for the party to wake up and retaliate. Bastila is a sore loser about this outcome, so she decides to run to the not Death Star and fight us there later. Johnner tells his entire crew about the skill issue Bastila just had, and then makes course for the final level of the game, the Starforge. As a final test of our hero's magnificent build, Johnner will run through this level all on his own. No Jolee buffs, no mission sneak attacks, just straight up firepower. The first floor of the Starforge is 80% droids who are clapped up by the destroyed droid force power. Next, guarding the elevator to the second floor are some highly leveled Dark Jedi. These guys can actually be a problem when they spam you with force powers, so to lower their chances, Johnny puts up a ward of force immunity. It's not perfect protection against force powers, but it's pretty darn close. Next, The second floor involves fighting infinitely spawning Dark Jedi with grenade spamming Sith troopers. It's no use fighting infinite enemies, so the best thing to do is run past them. Head to a nearby control room, stun the people in there, turn off all automated defenses, and move on to floor 3. Oh yeah, and since I was feeling cocky, I went ahead and crafted some new robes while I was turning off floor 2's defenses. Totally overkill at this point, but they're sick as hell. Next. The third floor is more of the same stuff as the second, excepting a guarded door protected by some Dark Jedi. They are easily defeated, revealing the Bastila Shan boss fight. The gimmick here is that Bastila can revive herself 3 times. This just means she gets one shot 3 times, and then dies. Pretty anticlimactic. The third floor also contains an infinitely spawning droid gauntlet, which can be ignored by leaving. All this leaves is the final boss of KOTOR, Darth Malak. Again, but this time he's in serious mode. Instead of being one shot, he gets 2 shot. Taking a page out of Bastila's playbook, Malak also revives himself. It's slightly different this time because if left unattended, Malak can do this a total of 9 times instead of just 3. Though by running around the boss room and turning off all the revive chambers using the Force, Malak is limited to the 1 free revive he got in the cutscene. I would say this was a close battle of dramatic quality, but frankly, it was not. Johnny took every drug in the game, cast Force immunity as well as speed, and was constantly upkeeping a high damage resist energy shield. The height of our hero's worry was if he was going to 3 or 4 shot the boss. It was a 4-shot kill regrettably, but it was more than enough to answer the question, can I beat KOTOR in honor mode? Yes, yes I can. Okay, this was by far the most fun I've had doing a KOTOR challenge and the most research I've done for a run as well. I was not expecting to get this done on the first try, but it was a welcome surprise. If you guys try out an honor mode run of KOTOR yourselves, do let me know how they go in the comments below. If you want to support my channel, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. If you want to say hi to me live, I stream on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays at 7:30 p.m. EST. A special thanks to all my channel members. If you want to become more involved in my future, consider pressing that join button down below. And if you want to see more content like this, feel free to check out my KOTOR challenge videos playlist. But yeah, thank you all again for watching, and see ya in the next one.